Good afternoon. My name is Pedro Romero, and today I'd like to talk about the women's rights movement and the temperance movement. Why are they so important? Well, for starters, they brought great change to America. The temperance movement. Well, the temperance movement was something caused because of the many problems that were happening. Alcohol brought three-fourths of extreme poverty and three-fourths of more crime than before. People who were getting drunk the alcohol was getting to their heads. They were killing people for any little argument they would had. They would beat up their wives and children, and they would waste the money that they would earn on alcohol. And of course, their families would have no way of getting food since they had no money. What what was the what were many effects of the alcohol? First of all, it wrecked lives, dishonored names, ruined fortunes, ruined families, and ruined reputation. Because yes, alcohol was a great problem, but not only for regular people, but also in politics. People from the government were all into alcohol. It was like a major issue, especially since major departments like the FBI and even the sheriff county, all of them together, they couldn't do anything against the illegal transportation of alcohol. People were into so many problems because of this. And of course, it got to a point where just couldn't be taken anymore. I mean, who can stand a husband that beats them up and beats up their children and doesn't even bring food to the table? This was horrible. And the women's rights movement. Well, nowadays women have many rights. Like for example, we can vote. Women can keep their own children. They can own property. But back in time, not really that long ago, women had no right. They didn't even have the right to be their own property. They were the property of their husbands. They expected them to be good role models, but they didn't want them to take part in the government, in politics, since they were considered to be inferior to men. What was something horrible about this was that they couldn't even own or like the children were not their property, but the man's property, just like them. A woman would get beaten up, and well, the husband had the right to do it, and of course they had no say in their government. How was this fair? It was not. But of course, women worked hard to earn what they now have. Now they earn better wages. Now they own their children. Now they own their own selves, which is really important. Nowadays, they're more independent. And not only that, but women were the one who started with the temperance movement, since they didn't want to have to deal with drunk men who beat them up and beat up their children. It's important to say that they also worked for to earn a right for the children. I mean, who were working, and many great things were caused because of this. The women helped end child labor, and now they are an important part of society. And of course, it wasn't an easy trajectory that women have to face because even when they had gotten the right to vote, they really couldn't do much according to government because people had this mentality that men were the ones who were supposed to work in the government and women couldn't do that. So they had to go through so many things to face this. the end, the woman earned the right with the 19th Amendment, and the temperance movement was, and alcohol prohibition was made with the 18th Amendment. Yes, it was hard work to get these amendments to be passed, but it happened. And now there's a law protecting women against being beaten by their husbands, against people taking their children away. They can vote, and there's really no restrictions. Of course, for age restrictions, but women can own property, and they can do so many other things that they could not before. And all this is possible because of those people who worked so hard for these things.